Dacus, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Look up on the wall, there on the floor, under the pillow, behind the door. There's a crack in the mirror, somewhere there's a hole in the window pane. Now do you think I'm to blame? Tell me, do you think I'm to blame?
Memphis basketball team will show up tonight against Temple. Will it be the team that was dynamic in the Bahamas? Was it the team that beat Baylor, the team that took Vanderbilt, by the way, 16-0, haven't lost a game? They took them to overtime. Is it that team, or is it the team that lost to UNLV and that just did not show up in Boca against Florida Atlantic? That is the interesting question. Temple has won 7 in a row. They haven't beaten anybody. Their best win is against a 147 KenPom. Hofstra. They've had bad losses, too. This is not a juggernaut of a team, but it will be a barometer game. Where in the heck is Memphis's head at? We'll find out. Will Ja play today, 1 o'clock, in Berlin? He's there. He's in Europe. He spoke to reporters. He didn't say this, but the reports are, I guess it's Rachel Nichols, who I've always liked. And she's now with Fox after sort of really getting dumped on by ESPN. Rachel is reporting that Ja wants to go to Miami. If there's a Miami deal, most likely because of salary matches, Terry Rozier would be involved. I know they're going to want picks. We'll see how that plays out. Apparently there has been a bunch of interest in Ja, and you're worried about that. But the Grizz will probably play pretty well hardball in order to get what they want. In the meantime, Ja just can't help this. He was seen in an animated exchange with Vince Williams yesterday. Nobody talking about that. He did say he hopes he plays today. I told you yesterday he's playing. Nike wants him to play. The NBA wants him to play. That contusion is probably going to heal. I feel pretty certain about that. In this whole thing, we actually got a medical update from the Grizzlies. Here's the news. On Scottie Pippen, he's expected to play in the next 4 to 6 weeks. On Brandon Clark, he's expected to play in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Zach Edey, not quite as good. Reevaluated in 6 weeks. So you've got a period of time you don't know about Edey. You really need him. I don't know. Is this going to be just a whole year he doesn't play? Except for, 2 games or whatever, or 3 games, whatever it was, he looked good in. But I don't know. That is definitely going to be a tough update there. But they do play Orlando and Desmond Bane, their former brother. They play them today at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. Of course, that's an evening event, 7 o'clock, I think, in Germany. And we'll keep our eyes on that. In the meantime, Charles Huff has scored again, at least on paper. So the Tigers get another quarterback. This guy's name is Air Nolan. That's not his real name, but that's what he's been going by. This was a kid who was the number 7 quarterback in his class. I think it was 23. He signed with Ohio State and really couldn't inch up the depth chart there. Well, let's face it, they had a great freshman playing this year. So he wasn't going anywhere. He saw the handwriting on the wall, and he went to South Carolina. In front of him was Lenora Sellers. And Lenora Sellers is coming back. So Charles Huff was able to somehow entice this 4-star recruit to Memphis. So he will be in the same quarterback room with Marcus Stokes. We've already talked about his mobility and charisma and all that other good stuff. So the Tigers have a quarterback battle. And I should mention the third kid that came from Southern Miss, and I don't know really much about him. His name is Gardner. But now you got three guys in that quarterback room. That's what you want. You want competition. In case of injury, you've got competent backups. And I know at least two, and I don't know about the Gardner kid, but that is pretty good. There was a heck of a basketball game last night in the SEC. Tennessee got 23, 10 in overtime from their freshman Nate Ament. And they win over A&M. That's the first loss that A&M has had in conference. That was a big win because now Tennessee's 2-2. They'd already lost twice. They couldn't afford to lose a game at home and go 1-3. Rick Barnes' team is not as consistent, I'm sure, as he would like. They've got some talent, though. That was a big win for them last night, for certain. And the Vandy story just intrigues me. Because when they play so much like Louisville, and Louisville just clobbered Memphis, but I don't know if that wasn't another FAU UNLV kind of show up, or if Louisville's that good. Now they got waxed in the second half by Duke, and I watched a bunch of that game. They didn't hit all the threes against Memphis. They didn't miss a three. And Vanderbilt played similarly, and Memphis hung with Vandy. You know, send it to overtime. That's where they got beat bad. Memphis had their chances to win that game in regulation. So I just don't know about this Memphis basketball team. It is so weird because some days they come to play, some days they just don't show up. We got a busy show. Dennis Freeland's going to Dennis Philippi is going to join us. Dennis Freeland, by the way. I think about him often. I'm sure many of you don't even know who I am referring to. I know Dennis Philippi does. Dennis Freeland was the first sports editor, then the editor of the Memphis Flyer in its early days. Just a great gentleman from Paris, Tennessee, and died at way too young an age. I think in his mid-40s. He had just had a young child who's now, she may be through college. But I don't know why I said that. Isn't it weird as you get older, things just kind of pop in your head and you lose your mind? That's what happened with me right there. Dennis Philippi in just a minute. Joe Dank on the business of sports. You know, I was talking with Joe earlier, so I'm going to give him a heads up if we get to this. He's a season ticket holder to the Grizzlies. I'm going to ask him if he thinks the Grizzlies should trade Ja. You know, that's a little bit like, was there a PI in the Ole Miss Miami game? Was that Hail Mary? Was that pass interference at the end? 50% say yes, 50% say no. You wouldn't make that call. It's really, and it'll never be decided, but I think it's 50-50 from those on Ja. I mean, let's face it, Ja does sell tickets. Ja does sell merch. Ja does give you an international presence, which is why he's going to play, by the way, in Berlin. But Ja is the perfect example of availability being the best ability. He's never around. He's not played in the last 3 years, hardly. So I'm going to ask him if he likes the Ja trade. If it was to would he thrive in Miami with Spoelstra, who's a pretty strong character? Be very curious to see how all of that works out. I am sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and it's a new year. It's now the official first new sale at Family Leisure. It's the floor model sale. Now that's going on, and they've got deep, like diving deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, even the cold plunges, the newest thing. How deep are these discounts? I'm not even allowed to say they're that deep, so I've been putting off getting a new spa. If you have, then right now's the best time to buy. Here's one price I can let loose. You can get spas as low as $99 a month, plus you get over $1,000 in upgrades with every spa purchased. It's crazy. It's going on right now at I-40 and Wooden Road. That's Family Leisure. All of a sudden, we've got a time change.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Good morning, Dennis Philippi. Not to be confused with Freeland.
I wrote for the Flyer when Freeland was there. When the Flyer very first started, I had a column called Village Idiots, where I just wrote making fun of people, like I like a guy who owned a voodoo store or whatever. I wrote for the Flyer back then. Dennis was a great guy.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, when I started doing this segment on your show, we were talking before the show, and I said off the air that I thought the Grizzlies should have traded Ja a year ago. So my position is that Ja should have been traded from the Grizzlies 3 years ago. You promptly outed me on the air the second we went on, saying, so you think Ja should be traded? I think that, but I didn't plan on saying it on the air because it wasn't a popular opinion. 2 years ago, it was a very unpopular opinion that they should get rid of Ja. I was saying get rid of Ja while you can get something for him. Yes, they're having interest in Ja, but nobody's talking about a big trade. Nobody's talking about a major player coming here in exchange for Ja. We could have gotten somebody big. There's a guy in Milwaukee who does not want to be in Milwaukee. We'd love to have him. There's no way we're getting Giannis for Ja. He just does. Exactly, that's the point.
No, the Bucks want
2 years ago
to get Ja to try to satisfy Giannis to keep him.
2 years ago, we could have gotten practically any player in the NBA for Ja because other teams didn't realize the issues with Ja, the maturity issues, and the fact he's hurt all the time. But a factor in that is the maturity thing. As I've said a million times, I'm the exact same size as Ja Morant. I have no business jumping 4 feet in the air. Neither does he. He's always going to come down on somebody's foot. He's always going to be hurt.
Well, and that's the only way he can be effective.
Because he can't shoot.
So here's the interesting
Which
aspect.
we knew 2 years ago.
So if they had made that move, I don't know what they
at the time, you said they will never do it. He's too popular.
Well, he was. He was selling tickets. And he was the whole identity of the Grizz. I don't think he should have been traded at that point. But in retrospect, because hindsight is 2020, they would have gotten more value than they're going to get now. And look at the Trae Young trade. That's a precedent because they're very similar, right? And they don't play defense. And Trae Young could shoot better. Plus which, in those, what is it, really 2.5 years since that occurred? Or 2 years? They've played, let's just say 2.5 seasons, okay? They've played roughly 81, 60, 200 games. He's made a third of them.
Right.
He's only played in a third of the games.
Right. You got a guy who plays in 40% of the games.
You know what? That great triumvirate that we all had hope for,
right.
and frankly, a lot of people came to see it and loved the Grizzlies for it. Not as much as the grit and grind Grizzlies, but the trio of Ja, Jaren, and Desmond, they only won one playoff series.
Right, but it felt like at that point that the team had some kind of identity.
Look, it felt like that team could win a championship at some point if they found a few more pieces to go with that big three. But that big three never materialized.
Well, a LeBron James agent, this is so weird. LeBron James agent, and LeBron, by the way, has already distanced himself from this statement, but LeBron James agent said that the Lakers should trade Austin Reeves for Jaren Jackson.
Well, the Grizzlies would not make that trade.
Jaren Jackson is literally the only Grizzly that is absolutely not on the market. Any other Grizzly could be moved, but they're not going to. And Austin, I like Austin Reeves.
Well, I don't think they would put Cedric Coward or Zach Edey on the market either. But I would agree with you. I like Austin Reeves.
But I don't want to build a team.
You know why Austin Reeves makes sense here? He's from here.
No.
He's from around here. But and that agent also had this caveat. He said, I like Austin Reeves. I like Austin Reeves a lot. Austin Reeves deserves to be paid. If he went somewhere else, he would be making big money. In L.A., Doncic and LeBron make all the money. He's not going to get the money. He got a decent rate. I don't think he makes more than, isn't this weird, more than $10 million a year.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah.
I think he's scraping by.
But
moving
not
on.
in terms of big money.
Moving on, tennis news. There's big news to go. All kinds of, the Australian Open is going on right now. I don't know if you follow tennis.
I do follow tennis.
There is a growing shortage of tennis racket stringers in Australia. I didn't know this. I don't know if you guys knew this, but in tournaments, every single racket is hand strung. They're not machine strung. They're all hand strung. And right now, there are about 50 people who are qualified to do it. So there's a shortage of hand stringers for tennis rackets because they're aging out. The average age of a professional tennis racket stringer is 50 and up. There aren't any young people getting in the stringing game because they don't know it exists.
There used to be a guy here.
Was it
When the
stringer?
tennis tournament was here, it was a stringer. And I think he actually left Memphis to go on the tour.
That's a great line of work. I didn't even know that job existed. These people travel all over the world just to string tennis rackets. And one of the guys who does it said it's just muscle memory. I just know how to do it. I know how to do it for this player. I know how to do it for this player.
Well, and you know what? They will string it to a tightness
specific to a player.
To a particular player.
Yeah.
Some like it really tight.
Right.
Some like it a little bit looser. Maybe a little bit more spin is put on it that way.
I'm telling you,
interesting.
This is a growth industry. This is a line of work to jump into. If you're at a loss, you're a young person. You can't figure out.
You want to see the world?
You want to see the world, and not have to wear a uniform and get shot at. Learn how to string a tennis racket. I think that's your key. Speaking of tennis, I'm thinking maybe Kenya is not going to be making a habit of holding a lot of tennis tournaments. They just had a tennis tournament there in Kenya. They had a women's tournament that featured the debut of Egyptian player Hajar Abdelkader. We're just going to go with Hajar.
I got a feeling that was mangled.
Believe me, it was. We're just going to go with Hajar. Hajar, she was accepted as a wild card into the tournament when another player withdrew. She lost 6-0, 6-0. She had 20 double faults. She scored 3 points.
Wait, that sounds like Coco Gauff.
There's more. She scored 3 points. 2 of them were double faults by her opponent, and the other was an unforced error by her opponent. Egypt, by the way, has issued a strongly worded email that Hajar is not, nor has she ever been, a registered player for Egypt. Nobody knows.
She's not on their Davis Cup team.
Nobody knows how this woman ended up in this tournament.
Terrific. I love it.
It just got murdered. So that's your tennis news. Moving on to golf. They had some. Did you watch the TGL last night?
I did not.
You didn't watch it?
No. You know what I did for the first time? I went to see a high school basketball game, first time in years. I went to Collierville. I had yet to see that new gym, where the WNBA during COVID years actually held their league games. It is the nicest high school facility I've ever seen, and I watched those 2 young sophomores from Bartlett, DJ Ako, I think his name is, and the other guys was Brandon Williams, I believe, the point guard. All they've done is won just about every game they've ever played since they were in 6th grade in middle school. And the kid DJ is like number 6 in the country in his class.
Just so I'm clear,
they are really good.
You had a night off last night, and you went to a high school basketball game.
Well, I got invited, and I wanted to see this.
Telling you.
I wanted to see these 2 kids. I wanted to see that
life.
thing.
You are living the life.
I try to
high school.
I try to do
basketball
my homework.
Of course, now I'm sure you probably talked about this Brooks Koepka thing, being allowed to return to the PGA under the returning members program. You've talked about this, I'm sure.
I did. Absolutely. I thought it was brilliant by the PGA Tour board to figure out a way to try and lure all the great stars.
Just that specific group of guys.
Right. You got to have won a major or a players since 22.
While you've been
it
gone.
only included Koepka, Rahm, DeChambeau, and Cameron Smith.
And Cam Smith.
And
those are the only 4 guys.
Exactly. And no Phil Mickelson,
No
by
Phil
the way.
Mickelson. And I love that in the wording, they never mention Live Golf. They refer to them as being elsewhere.
Yeah.
They say if a player has been elsewhere for the last 3 years and they would like to come back to the PGA, they have to have made that accomplishment, or they can. And by the way, this offer ends on February 2nd.
I know it. It's a one-time window.
It's a one-time only window. That door shuts on February 2nd. It's never going to be reopened unless, of course, one or all of these guys miss the deadline, at which point the PGA will promptly move the line back another 10 feet.
Maybe.
and then keep moving it back until they get these
Well,
guys back at the PGA.
It's only DeChambeau and Rahm that I care about. Cameron
Exactly.
Smith has sort of been a bust. And, they're all in their young 30s now. If
I
they don't
kinda
come
like
back,
Rahm.
DeChambeau is the main attraction.
I think he's good for the sport because there's a lot of people like me who can't stand him, and so I think
every sport needs a heel.
I agree.
And Rahm is a good guy who's a really good player. Those are the two. By the way, Rahm didn't quite come out as strong. DeChambeau, I would bet the PIF, Public Investment Fund of Saudi, I would believe if they really want to keep this thing going, they would give DeChambeau $1 billion to stay.
Yeah, well, I've made it really, really clear how I feel about people taking Saudi money, so we can move on from that one. Dirty doings in the world of skeleton. The skeleton event in the Winter Olympics.
Oh, that's the like
What
a
it is?
like
It's
small
like- okay,
sled.
No, what it's like? It's like the luge, except you're face down and face forward.
It's the way I used to sled
It's the
on
way,
Devil's Hill in
sure,
Chicago.
That's the way to go. That's the way to sled. Sure. That's the difference. You think about it. I mean, on the luge, you're looking down at your skates. You're thinking, "Hey, man, if I miss this turn, I'll probably be okay." The skeleton, you're face down, face first, looking, thinking, "If I miss this turn, I've got a courtside seat for my own spectacular death." Well, it's according to Katie. These are the names I got today. My God, according to Katie Ulander, who a
you faked that pretty good.
five-time skeleton person. I don't know what they are. I don't know what to call them. Skeleton rider?
Skeleton sledders.
Skeleton sledder? Sure. She's a five-time skeletoner in the Olympics for us. She was informed by Joe Cicchini, who's the head of a Canadian skeleton, that he deliberately fixed the process to qualify for the Olympics so that two-time Canadian Jane Channel would qualify and Uleander would not make it. So there's some dirty doings in the world of skeleton. It was fixed.
Wow.
I know, it's shocking.
I'm just so sad to hear that.
Speaking of Olympics, if winning gold medals is the measure of success in the Olympics, then the vast majority of Olympians are failures because only a handful of them actually win gold medals. So naturally, somebody decided to conduct a study of why athletes do this, knowing that there's very little chance they're going to be the one standing at the top of the podium. 15 people were involved in this. This is a major study by a major university. And what it came down to is no matter how they do for the rest of their lives, these people can say, "Oh, well, when I was in the Olympics." I mean, that's literally what it comes down to,
Right.
is they don't care. They would love to medal. Sure, that'd be great. But it's like being in the Apollo program. I mean, there were only 12 guys who could say, when I walked on the moon.
Right.
And there's only so many people who walk around on the planet who can say, well, when I was in the Olympics. So that, and then 16,000 tickets to the World Cup games here in North America, U.S., Canada, and Mexico have had to be refunded. 16,000 tickets and
They
counting.
oversold?
These are tickets that were already sold that are having to be refunded because people are afraid to come here. You can make your own judgment about why that is, mainly because they would like to be able to go home. They can come here, but they're afraid if they come here, they might be rerouted to Uzbekistan or something when they're trying to leave the country.
Well, they would just be returned to where they came from. Wouldn't cost them any money.
That's,
Yeah, a little get roughed up on the way, but
I just think it's weird. Well, FIFA is such a filthy organization. They
Yeah.
give Trump this big, shiny trophy, and people are afraid to come here to go to World Cup games.
crazy. Thank you, my friend, as always.
I just can't believe how
Appreciate
dirty the world of skeletoning is.
I had no idea. You've enlightened me now on new skeleton duggery. Little play on words there.
Skeletonality.
Ladies and gentlemen. This portion of the show is brought to you by Dinstall's. Now, didn't the Miami-Oregon game, or rather the Indiana-Oregon game, the Indiana-Oregon game, it started with a pick six, right? I got a pick six to start your next game. Pick one of these 6 incredible Dinstall's candies. chocolate fudge, cashew crunch, turtlettes, ooh, God, heavenly crunch, pecan brittle, and all of your favorite chocolates. They've got them ready for the game, either the playoffs, the Bears. Did the Packers lose that game to the Bears? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. Can't wait to talk to Joe about that. Anyway, that was pretty sweet. As sweet as Dinstall's chocolate for me. You got the NFL playoffs. You've got Monday night. You've got Miami in Indiana for the national title. And I got 6 different things, a pick 6 for you. All you got to do is get to one of the 5 Dinstall locations. Get the pick 6 at either downtown, Collierville, Germantown, my neck of the woods, Laurelwood, or they make all the candies at Pleasant View. You can't beat it. You've got the great choices of the sweetest things ever, all at Dinstall's. We take the break. When we come back, we talk with Joe Dank in just a moment.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Maria's Cantina in South Haven is not your average Tex-Mex joint because they're serving up Mexican with a twist. Maria's Scratch Kitchen is the most creative and diverse menu around. Beyond the traditional huge quesadillas, chimichangas, and fajitas, Maria serves up hand-rolled Latin egg rolls, Cajun and Creole items like catfish, gumbo, and boudin balls, as well as the best sandwiches and 8-ounce burgers in town. Wash it all down with a house margarita for only $5.50 and happy hour every day till 6. MariasCantina.com, 6717 Airways, Mexican with a twist. NST's been taking down insurance giants for over 35 years. Big firm power with hometown heart? Yeah, they don't play. It's that combination that has helped them win billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hi, folks. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I hope your new year has started out in a great way. I think we're all relieved when the holidays are over and life returns to normal. And normal means that special gift-giving occasions always roll around. Over the last 5 decades, we at Russell Brothers have helped thousands of Memphians turn those special occasions into truly memorable celebrations when a small box of exquisite jewelry from Russell Brothers is opened. Beauty, quality, value, and service are what we have offered to our friends and customers for so many years, and all of that is wrapped together in the stunning jewelry you'll find at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Whether you're looking for a very important piece of jewelry for a big occasion, or perhaps just a trendy, whimsical piece to make her smile, we can help you. Remember, beauty, quality, value, and service are our offerings to you every day for every occasion. Come see us at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
favorite part.
We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your
Little rub it in your face. Bad move by me, but I couldn't help myself. Joe Dank, Wisconsin native, Green Bay Packer actual owner. He has got stock in the Packers. Did the stock drop a whole bunch after the Bears took 2 out of 3 and move on in the playoffs?
First of all, the value never changes. It's just simply priceless.
You know what? It's good to have a rivalry back. How's that? Because it was so one-sided Green Bay for so long since really Favre got there.
And look, in an NFL today, that is, we always talk about the NFL being bulletproof, everything else. We, through the quirk of the schedule, through the quirk of a playoff game, this is only the 3rd time they ever met in the playoffs. We played, there were 3 games, Packer-Bear games, in a 36-day period. Every single game ended with the ball in the air going towards the end zone. It was fabulous. And I mean, the Packers lost twice, but I just thought they were the 3 best football games I've watched in the last 10 years. It was that good.
It's supposed to be that way with these 2 teams, and finally that lived
and
up
it
to
is.
the day.
And
it is the
was.
longest running NFL
No
rivalry.
question.
I don't know. Are the Lakers Celtics longer running?
No.
You know, the Yankees and the Dodgers are definitely longer running than that.
Yes, because first there was baseball.
Right.
Then there was NFL, and that was before pro basketball.
So
yes.
I'm going to switch the order up here because we're going to get to college football and all that other good stuff in a second. But since we're on the Bears-Packers, there was a record set, right? Streaming. Never before have we seen a number like this before with the game. You had to go to a streaming thing. You had to go to Amazon to see the game.
We did, and yet the game on Saturday night on Amazon did 31.6 million viewers.
31.5 million. What did that beat? So the only ones that would be up against that were streaming would be Netflix, right?
Yeah, I mean it beat the previous record holder, held the record only since Christmas Day.
Right.
It was the Vikings and Lions game on Christmas Day. But here's something even perhaps more striking, important, and takes. Streaming is here, and streaming's never going anywhere. The Packer-Bears game was better than NBC's Sunday night game, Chargers-Patriots, which did 28.9 million.
That's incredible.
Yes. And it also beat Fox's Saturday afternoon game of the Rams and the Panthers. That did 27.9 million.
So wait a second. Amazon, which does not have nearly as many potential households as 2 networks, NBC and Fox, and the streaming game between the Bears and the Packers outdid both those on-network, over-the-air free games.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I say it's deeply embedded now. And you have to remember the other thing is more people have a subscription to watch Prime Video for reasons other than watching Prime Video.
Well, delivery from Amazon.
It's an add-on, so that's even more amazing.
Well,
the big winner.
But who's got more, Amazon or Netflix? I would think Netflix has more.
Netflix
subscribers,
does, but nevertheless, those are 2 distinct, separate categories. I think, and Prime continues to really try to build its video thing on sports, where that's not the case necessarily with Netflix. One last word on the NFL, the winner of the weekend. The Sunday late game, 49ers-Eagles, just for comparison's sake, did 41 million. So
wow.
Big number there. But that's the A position, right? The late Sunday afternoon. So it delivered, and it delivered hugely at 41
million.
Yep.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible. All right. College football TV ratings. They are in. I don't think there was a 41 million in there, was there?
There's not a 41 million in there if you add the 2 games together.
Huh.
So this is interesting. So the Peach Bowl on Friday night, Indiana, Oregon was a blowout. Did do 18 million, but that's minus 13% against last year's semifinal game, and that game had Ohio State and Texas.
Was that also on a Friday night to avoid the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the Fiesta Bowl, which was a great game.
No question.
Miami Ole Miss, unbelievable game. It did only 15.8 million. That's down 11% versus the prior year.
So
it's the second lowest semi number in the history
Wow.
of the college football playoff.
Why do you think that both those numbers are down?
Well, so here's what I'm finding interesting, and this is what I wanted to discuss with you today. Those two games averaged 16.8 million.
Okay.
Last year's two semis averaged 19.2, so you're off 13%.
Okay, who was in those two games? Just refresh
Okay,
our
so
memory.
Ohio State, Texas, and Notre Dame, Penn State.
So those are bigger football brands, correct?
Gigantic brand. So number one, that counts. Number two, though, if you go back 2 years ago was a semifinal, but it was the last year of the 4-team playoff format, okay?
Right.
Those semis averaged 22.9. Now we're minus 27%. This takes me to the expansion discussion and supply and demand. I mean, we're now into, this is the third week of the playoffs as we get to these semis. Is there viewer fatigue? How dependent are we on those big brands? And are we going to be able to maintain it? And at this point, is there a great case to be made to create even more games, whether you go to 16 or 24? And that's the discussion that's taking place this week.
We'll get into that in just
Exactly.
a second. We don't get that viewer fatigue for the NCAA basketball tournament, do we? Why would we have that for this? But, I understand your point.
We haven't made it bigger for a long time. I mean, we went from 4 to 12. We tripled it.
How much
never
of it
went from 64, triple 64. Guess what? You'll have some fatigue.
How much of it was it's not the brands? I mean, you've got smaller markets. Ole Miss is not a big market. State of Mississippi, not so big. Indiana, new. Indianapolis is a fairly big market, but not a giant market. Miami's a big market. And Oregon. I mean, how big is Portland? It's not a big market.
No. This is, I think the most important thing is not who was in it this year. The big issue is who was in it last year. But and I'm not suggesting that it is broken necessarily. My thing is, where in this do we see a case to expand? That's the question I'm asking.
Well, the TV numbers are not supporting expanding.
That's my point.
But I don't know if that's going to be the case. There is other ticket revenue. There's sponsorships. There's ticket sales. And we'll get into that in a second. Well, let's get that right now. The price of a ticket for this championship game between Indiana and Miami, and Miami's at home. That could only happen in one other place, UCLA and the Rose Bowl.
Right.
So it's so weird that they get this chance to play at home. The cheapest ticket that I could see in the secondary market is $3,500. What's the face value?
So here's the best I can give you, and I just have a personal story because of it. My daughter's a graduate of the University of Miami. She was the drum major when she was there. I like to call her my music geek and football freak, and she's a huge Cane fan. And she joined the Hurricane Club over the weekend. You paid $100. That made you eligible for the ticket lottery. And she scored a pair of tickets yesterday at $4.95 a piece.
So $500.
So $500, and these are upstairs, upper corner of the end zone in the 300 level. So
Okay.
500 there. You have to think that face value
$1,200,
in the,
$1,500.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah, in that area. So, but this is a perfect storm for ticket buying because you have Indiana that's never been to anything close to this, and they're willing to travel. You saw
they're
the situation
crazy, man. They're
on
the
Friday
only other
night.
team I can ever think of that did that sort of thing was Nebraska.
Well, exactly. But in, IU, this is the first time ever, and then you do have the home game for Miami. So this is a unique situation. These ticket prices are off the charts.
What are the payouts like?
So per team payouts, it's a simple process that works. If you qualify for the playoffs, you get $4 million, okay? If you make it to the quarters, you get another 4. If you make it to the semis, you get 6. If you make it to the finals, you get another 6. So
Wow.
the max you can get is 20. Playing it that way, right? So you get to 20 million. Here's the interesting thing about the 20 million in the case of Miami. You may recall when Florida State and Clemson challenged the ACC,
Right.
threatened to leave, all of those things. They asked for unequal distribution of postseason funds. The result
Thinking
is,
they would be in it.
Exactly. Thinking that, and the result being now that Miami, having advanced to this level as the only ACC team, gets to keep all of the $20 million and not share it with anybody else in the conference.
That's because Florida State and Clemson wanted that for themselves. So that move cost them any money
Any piece
that
of this
Miami's not going to get. Wow, that's interesting.
Now, think of the flip side on this. Indiana qualifies for the same $20 million. They are in a conference of 18 teams that divide evenly. Miami gets 20. Indiana gets 1 and change.
Wow. Crazy the way these things are set up. All right. January 23rd. That date embedded in my mind, it's a week from Friday. That is when the College Football Playoff Committee will reassign all the bowls. New contracts are going to come out. TV deals with ESPN and other networks will all be sealed, possibly. And the College Football Playoff Committee will decide to do one of these 3 things. Keep the tournament at 12 teams, go to 16, or, as the Big Ten has suggested, go to 24 teams within 5 years. What do you think, Joe Stradamus, will happen here?
Well, in reading reports of what's going on in terms of the negotiation, if you had to put odds on one of those 3, I would pick the 12 right now, because I think that the 2 players, the Southeast Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey, the Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti, they are the 2 that have to come to an agreement. Petitti wants 24. Sankey's good with 16. If they can't agree on one of those 2 things, or some combination of those 2 things, it stays at 12. And I think the likelihood right now is that they may not come to an agreement.
I'm with you. So it'll probably stay at 12, at least for a period of time. And they can just say, we're going to extend this 1 year, too. And that would mean that the AutoZone Liberty Bowl would stay with the SEC for 1 more year, if they just go across the board an extension of 1 year.
No, not necessarily. They have to make a decision, and if the decision is 12, then it will be
They
interesting.
could vote to extend it 1 year.
They could. And so what becomes very interesting is what happens to the rest of those. The other thing is this. We talk about the word calendar has been used a lot in this football preseason.
It needs to. It needs to be changed.
Okay, but let's put calendar now on a different category and start thinking about a 16-team playoff or a 24-team playoff, and when those games are going to need to be played. If you add rounds of, if you go to 24, you're adding an extra round. You could just, so you're going to have more games. I think all of a sudden 2 things really become interesting if you expand the field. One becomes the conference championship games. Is there going to just simply still be room for them?
I don't think so.
On the calendar. The second piece is, what happens to the New Year's Day bowl games if you don't have that broken down and you're just playing quarterfinals on that day? What if the quarterfinals have moved up because you got to get through these rounds? Or what if
I'm okay with the quarterfinals being on New Year's Day as long as I get enough games on New Year's Day.
If you get the quarterfinals on New Year's Day, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
But if this calendar gets adjusted because we have extra teams and extra rounds being played in different places, you might not have that work out.
To me, the calendar is tampering with coaches and players and the portal.
No. I said a different
calendar.
That's a different category. But the calendar also affects this because the traditionally best game, it has worked out perfectly playing the quarters in those 4 bowl games and using semis in the other 2 of the traditional New Year's 6.
Last question real quick, Ramon. Would you trade Ja? You're a season ticket holder. And don't tell me trade him to Milwaukee because you want to see Giannis and Ja become the next Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah, I do want to see that to a certain extent. But no, I wouldn't trade him only from a marketing standpoint. From a basketball standpoint, I think he's left them with no choice.
Very good. That's Joe Dank. That's our guy. He is brought to you by the good folks at Southern Security. You know how good a bank that is. Southern Security, the credit union, has been voted the #1 credit union in Memphis for the last 6 years. A 7th is coming, and all you got to do is just take one good look at that new building in Collierville, and you know they can do things other people can't because they are a not-for-profit. They got 7 locations now, and they offer the lowest rates because they can. Flexible terms, no PMI, and the service beyond compare. All the newest technology. Look at that building in Collierville. All you got to do to become a member and be a team guy. You can be a part of this team by going to southernsecurity.org or calling a human being at 452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing leader, federally insured by NCUA. Southern Security, that's your home team credit union. The Roundtable with Corey and maybe Bruce, who's got a shoot around today, comes your way in a minute.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs. 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic and $5 craft pints on Mondays. Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 happy hour. Music bingo Tuesdays. Daily specials and online ordering. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Highway 70. Check Facebook for daily specials and weekend music at the Owner's Box.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Trade up and drive into 2026 for less at Landers Ford in Collierville. New 2025 Ford F-150, $11,750 off MSRP or 3.9 APR financing for 72 months. We're making room for incoming new Fords with our best offers right here in the new year. It's our 2026 trade-up event. We're paying top dollar. You could even lower your payments. Shop one of the largest selections of new Fords at the #1 Ford dealer in Greater Memphis. The price you see is the price you pay. No hidden addendums. That's the Landers Ford difference. Get started now with our Landers Easy Pass at LandersFordMemphis.com. Don't wait. The best new Fords with the biggest savings will sell fast. Landers Ford in Collierville.
As reported on Ford's 2025 Total New Vehicle Sales Report, Memphis Market. Example, 2025 Ford F-150 XLT, stock number 25D0751. MSRP $62,450. Ford package discount $2,000. Ford retail bonus cash $32.50. Ford customer cash $2,000. Landers savings $4,500. Sale price $50,700. With approved credit from Ford Credit. Minimum monthly payment of $1,560 per thousand financed, regardless of down payment. Price tax, title license, and $695 processing fee. See dealer for complete details. Offer ends 2/2/26.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
Uncorn flavor, Corky's barbecue. We're cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like the good old days.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. With over 175,000 cars served in our drive-thru, 4,000 online pickup orders, and 1,500 party packs delivered to offices and events every year, Corky's is your trusted go-to barbecue for parties. Our party packs start at just $6.99 per person. You can choose 1, 2, or 3 meat combos, pick your favorite sides, and as you know, Corky's always gives you plenty of food, so you never worry about running out. Whether it's pickup or delivery, we've got you covered. Corky's makes it easy to impress your guests. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to order for your next next gathering today.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We welcome you back in. Round table today. -1. Bruce Howard has a shoot-around he's going through. He's got to do his pre-game interview with the coach. It's interesting. Tulsa in Charlotte, 3.5-point favorite. More interesting in Tulane and New Orleans. UAB is a 1.5 favorite. The voice of the Green Wave, whose team is still undefeated, just like Temple in the American, joins us now. Corey Glore. How in the world did that work out? You guys are underdogs to UAB. I'm shocked at that.
You know, we have an opportunity to talk a whole bunch of crap about Tulsa if we want right now.
We do.
Dave, but just Tim, I mean, they've dropped 2 in a row. I mean, we can just rip them to shreds.
We can just say this. The 13 wins they had to start the year, come on. Who'd they beat? It's a little like Temple is also undefeated, just like you guys are. You know their best win is Hofstra. You know what that KenPom is?
Exorbitant.
147. That's their best win. So, come on. Nobody's proven anything yet. But I will say this. The Tigers are very vulnerable. If they come to play, they might fight, and they can beat anybody then. Like, they play like they did in the Bahamas or Baylor, or even losing in overtime to Vandy here. But if they play like they did against UNLV or the debacle in Boca, horrible.
Yeah, it's, we were texting yesterday, Dave. I think Memphis will iron things out. They tend to year in and year out. It happens earlier and later, just depending on the type of team. But I just think talent-wise, they will be better than most teams in the league. And so I think they'll be fine, just maybe not what Memphis usually is. In terms of Tulane being a dog here to UAB, I think what probably leads into that is that 2 of Tulane's wins have come against what are pretty clearly the 2 worst teams in the league. East Carolina, right. They battle. They pushed UAB to overtime on Sunday, but they're still winless. They're going to be hard-pressed to find wins. I do not know how UTSA gets a win on their schedule. Like, they host Rice tonight, and maybe they can pick that one off, but that team is a mess. And so those are 2 of Tulane's wins. The other one's a good one at home against FAU. And so that's probably where the home dog comes in here. This Tulane defense is playing at a different level right now, and that's why they're 3-0. They're going to be put to the test to round out January with UAB tonight, North Texas Sunday, then on the road at FAU and Charlotte to follow that. And so the rest of the month, I think, is going to kind of really tell the tale as to where Tulane slots in here in the upper half of the league. But the way this defense has played right now, and it's carried over since the end of non-conference play, it's been impressive to watch.
I'm impressed that you beat FAU the way you did. Seriously. I mean, FAU, to me, now I saw them when Memphis decided not to come play. They were at home, although the place was half empty, which is unusual. When Memphis plays them, it's a full house. Heck, there's many a Memphian that lives in Boca, for goodness sake. Devin Williams really, and Vanderpool too, they both impressed me. Those are 2 guys that I will tell you. One's from Indiana, and the other is from UCLA. That I just didn't quite see coming. They didn't have a great non-conference schedule, but and then they had lost to you guys. So I was pretty impressed with them. But it really may be the lack of fight that Memphis had. I don't know.
Well, that's also a different team at home. Like, they've only lost 8 games in that building since their Final Four run.
That's right.
4 years ago. And so
40,
like that's
42-8 or something like that.
Yeah, like, they're great in that building, and Tulane is going to have to go there in a week and try and sweep them. What Tulane's been able to do, and we can argue about the quality of ECU and UTSA, but the 3 teams they've seen in the league are very different styles of teams, and they've made all 3 play at their pace, which is slower, which is half-court offense, right, and try and get through that matchup defense. They made FAU play that game and held them to 9 fast break points. Vanderpool was really held in check by Tulane. Tulane's done a good job on holding leading scorers down to start off conference play, and Devin Williams didn't really have the interior presence. Tulane just beat him off the dribble because their bigs are not typical bigs. They spread them out. And so that's how Tulane was able to get to FAU, slowed him down, and then made Williams play on the perimeter.
Is UTSA by far the worst team? Are they're worse than East Carolina, aren't they?
Yeah, East Carolina, I think, can grind out some wins. They're going to be hard pressed to make the tournament. But the way they play, they can slow it down. Riley's a legitimately good player. He shouldn't be their leading scorer, but he's a good 3-level scorer. Emmett Juru's a really good big down there for East Carolina. UTSA, boy oh boy, that is just a mess right now. And so I think that Austin Nunez has really turned into a nice scoring guard for them. I think he's a good player. Jameer Simpson's their leading scorer, but teams have really hounded him since league play started. They got Rice at home. They do have 2 with East Carolina this year, but beyond that, they're going to need a team to really underperform to get wins. That's a team that is in a worse spot than last year.
Memphis gets them on Sunday. They got Temple tonight. Temple's got a pretty good player in Gavin Griffiths. He's a pretty good shot blocker, and he can shoot threes, which is a pretty nice combination. I think he's their leading rebounder, too. But the Williams guy's the best guy that I've seen so far. You guys held him in check. He had 7 blocks against Memphis. I don't think Greg Oden in an NCAA game had 7 blocks against Memphis.
Yeah, and Tulane, again, they've been a good shot blocking team too, and they were able to just kind of hold Williams off the board in that regard. And so I think we talked about this briefly last week, right before you saw them. Florida Atlantic's so young; they don't have a true senior grad student on that team. Or if they don't stumble, if they don't make some miscues, like young team miscues, then that's going to be a team in the discussion. We've seen that with their UAB win, and now with their win over you guys over the weekend. When they are clicking, that is a terrific offensive team. Defensively, they're exploitable, but offensively, in a league that doesn't have a ton of great offenses, them in South Florida are the ones that I think are really showcasing just what they can do scoring the ball right now. They're going to be in the mix come end of February.
How good is that kid Isaiah Nelson, who's got 5 straight double-doubles?
Yeah, I mean, he's great, and I think what's cool now about what this league is, despite how bad overall it is that all the new names that we're starting to see really have some impacts early on here. It's a league that's going to have to get used to newcomers really stepping to the forefront. We bagged on Tulsa a little bit to start, but I love that Barnstable kid and what he can do scoring the ball. So it's stuff like this where we're kind of going to lean into a little bit in this league where all these new names that are really starting to earn our foothold.
That part is kind of fun. I think you nailed it when you said on the very first roundtable about basketball that it's road wins. Teams that get road wins are the ones that are going to have the upper hand. There's no doubt in my mind about that. All right, last thing, college football, because January 23rd they're going to make a decision on what they're going to do about the college football playoffs. Your mind, what do you think happens here with the G6? Because now with the Pac-12 coming in, there will be 6 group of 5 teams, group of 6 teams now. What do you think is going to end up happening here? Do you think there will still be a seat at the table for the little guys here?
I do. I just kind of reading what I've been reading the last few days, that there's been some pretty strong backlash from the decision makers here about cutting off a 6th or a 5th conference champion being slotted into a field. Unless the Big Ten changes their mind, they're pushing for 24 now, and everyone else kind of seems to want 16. Unless things really start changing in Miami, I get the sense we might be staying at 12 here, at least for the immediate future, and the format's not going to change much from what it is now with top 5 conference champions. I think it seems like there's been a backlash towards administrators and commissioners about the vitriol towards the group of 5 that came in this cycle, and I don't think that's going to change their mind about boxing them out. It all depends on how many automatic slots get sent to conferences, which there also seems to be a little bit of backlash about now. That's what the Big Ten's pushing for. So
that's ridiculous.
We'll see.
I tend to think it'll stay at 12 for at least a bit, and they'll keep the group of 6 now in the seat. I hope so. Corey, as always, good luck to you guys tonight, and we'll talk next Wednesday.
Thank you, Dave.
That is Corey Glore. He is the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. All right, I was wrong on 2 accounts. The game with the Grizzlies and Orlando in Berlin is not today. It's tomorrow at 1. And news just came out. Ja, making the trip to Europe, is not going to play. I would have thought the NBA and Nike would have put enough pressure on. I don't believe he's really injured. A contusion is a bruise, for goodness sake. So for whatever reason, maybe he'll be traded before the trip is done, and that's why he is not playing. Final portion of our show brought to you by, Sheldon. Who's the best real estate point guard in town, and who's the worst golfer? Well, you've got them all in one. It's Sheldon Rosengarten. Mark Spensdorf, you are 100% correct if you jumped up and said that. On both counts, most people will call him Sheldon because when you're selling your home, you want it done, you better call Sheldon. He's been doing it for a long time, and he knows some stuff about marketing and positioning your property to get the most money that you could possibly get for it. He may also be known as Mr. Three-Putt, but there's nothing better than hitting that three-point shot at closing. And he does that. He knows his clients are happy and satisfied because he always seems to hit that three. So, if you or someone you know is about to sell their home, call 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure Sheldon is one of them. You can get them by calling this number, 483-0546, or you can simply go, and the website says it all, MemphisRelocate.com. That's MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. That does it for us. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you at FedEx Forum tonight.